this is a video, I've never reacted to this person before. So this could either be interesting or I may very much disagree with what this person's about to say. Peef, I have bad news for you. This is why Star Wars needs to die. That's what this one is about. Now, again, I've never seen something from this person before, so I might either agree with this, or the points that they may make, I may disagree with. Because this has happened before. So I may end up just like the whole time agreeing with it and expounding upon it. Or I may disagree with it and say, no, you're wrong, here's where it actually needs to die. But let's find out.
Alright, mates. It's seriously time to talk about Star Wars, the franchise that refuses to die, no matter how many reboots, spin-offs, and prequels we're force-fed. We love Star Wars, for two reasons.
We did.
Firstly, it taught...
We did love Star Wars. We did. Now everybody has fallen out of love with Star Wars.
Us humans can live in space before Elon Musk, and secondly, it gave us our first father-son bonding moment. Darth Vader finally got Luke face to face and said, "I am your father." Like, oh, thanks, Dad. Nothing says top-notch parenting like waiting until you're 5 minutes away from...
Yeah, Alex, I mean, you're right. That was when that was the warning sign. That was the canary in the coal mine, was when Disney said all of the all of the EU for Star Wars, since Return of the Jedi came out, they said all of the EU is decanonized. That was the canary in the coal mine. Because they still had the chance to do something good with it by that point. Even if they decanonized, because when Disney decanonized the EU, yes, that upsets people, because yes, there were so many great books and so many fantastic fucking stories. But at the same time when it happened, I could understand, okay, is Disney trying to sort of blaze their own trail for the future of Star Wars, and they don't want to borrow from the plethora of stories. They wanted to do their own story moving forward with Star Wars, because at this point we had not reached the stage in modern Hollywood where saying fuck you to the established canon and saying I want to do my own story was an insult. We hadn't gotten there yet. This was basically, we were still at the point where we want to tell our own story instead of piggybacking off the stories of others, meant, okay, they want to do their own thing, let's see how this goes, because that's what they did with Marvel. With Marvel, they told their own stories. They did not strictly piggyback off the comic book stories. And for Marvel at the time, it worked. So that's why people were not like, holy shit, the world is ending when Disney said the EU is decanonized. It wasn't until after Disney launched the new new trilogy, that's when people went, suck. And it all has just snowballed from there.
I'm slicing my hand off to have the talk. Real hallmark moment. You'd think the Skywalkers have been through enough, but Disney's still digging for every last...
What? Not just evil, just Miss... What the fuck does this say? Miss... I don't even fucking know what this says.
How is the best Disney Star Wars movie Rogue One? It's not even a mainline story and has one-time characters. Weird how that works.
Yeah? Revan? Not... Well, basically, Disney Star Wars has had 3 successes since Disney took over Star Wars. I don't think that's misinterpreted. I don't know what the fuck it is. Because MISP, that's a UNEDIOD. don't know. Yeah, this could be AI. This could be AI generated. You're entirely possible. But yeah, like Rogue One was good. From what I've heard, Andor was also good. I never saw it. And seasons 1 and 2 of Mando were good. Those are the only good Star Wars that Disney has put out since they bought Lucasfilm. The only ones. And they fucked up Mando.
Last coin in the Tatooine sand. And with new shows like The Acolyte, which explores the Sith's troubled past as if they're misunderstood teenagers, it's clear this saga is just shambling on, zombie style.
The Acolyte was not... I'm gonna actually call this different. I don't think the Acolyte was trying to say that the Sith were misunderstood. I think that the Acolyte was actually basically... It was flat out a grooming attempt. The Acolyte was Disney romanticizing grooming. That's what the Acolyte was, because there's no way to look at what happened in the Acolyte as anything other than an incident of Sith grooming. But Disney presented it as a positive romantic thing. They ended the Acolyte season on a hopeful romantic note for the bad guys. That's how they ended it. Well, and Brandon, that's what Disney tried to flip the script on. That's what they tried to say, is they're trying to say that the Jedi are evil, that they are groomers. That's what Disney was trying to say. And nobody bought it. But they try to say that the Sith grooming people, that's sweet and romantic and you should aspire for it. The evil guys grooming are actually the good guys, don't you know? But nobody bought it. And that's why the Acolyte tanked like a 10-ton stone and got cancelled. There is a reason why the Acolyte is dead. Because Leslie Headland tried to say the Jedi are evil, the Sith are good, the bad guys are actually the good guys, you don't know fuck all, lesbians are wonderful, etc., etc., etc. And everyone went, go fuck yourself. And the whole thing crashed and burned. I know, Revan, I understand the joke.
So here's the real and only question. Why is the curtain on Star...
Sorry, I'm pausing a lot, I'm sorry. Andrea, you are correct. That the Sith works by seducing people their way of thinking. You are absolutely correct. But Leslie Headland took that and actually made it seem, and actually gave it a romantic spin. She didn't take it like, okay, the Sith is seductive, and so the victim of it is not recognizing the evil because she's being seduced, and you didn't have another character saying you're being seduced or being able to point this out. They actually made it like this was a positive thing because they ended it in a positive and romantic way. That's how they ended it. So if they ended it with like dark undertones, like the Sith did seduce a former Jedi to the dark side and did something evil, then it could have been okay. But they didn't. They actually tried to make it seem like the Sith are the good guys, the Jedi are evil, and we're gonna flip the script so you don't know which way's up, so that way you just accept our message. That's it.
Star Wars taking so long to drop? At one time, this was an epic of good versus evil, light versus dark, Jedi versus Sith.
Yes.
Now, we're watching the origin story of the origin story, hoping some new character in The Acolyte explains why space monks with laser swords are so darned miserable. It's like they're rewriting Star Wars as a therapy session.
And they fucked it up.
The Sith...
Oh! 100%. What he just said. Hang on. What he just said here.
It's like they're rewriting Star Wars as a therapy session.
It's not like they are. if memory serves, Leslie Headland actually did say that when they were writing The Acolyte, it was therapy. She flat out fucking said writing The Acolyte was therapy. So it's not like this was a therapy session. This 100% was a fucking therapy session that she got paid for. Flat out.
The Sith aren't evil. They're just really, really misunderstood.
You see?
Oh, and let's throw in some family therapy too, because Disney heard we loved a good tragic backstory. And, while we're at it, let's talk about how every Jedi training arc boils down to a pep talk from a puppet in a swamp. Yoda, our wise green mascot of vague life advice, has been recycling the same 2 sentences for 40 years. Do or do not. There is no try. Inspiring? Maybe. Unhelpful? Absolutely. Somehow, though, this shallow advice is enough to send Luke from farm boy to galactic hero in what, the weekend? Meanwhile, poor Obi-Wan.
Okay. I'm gonna do an in fairness here. Because Yoda saying do or do not was in the middle of his training. That's the thing that is being misconstrued here. Because he's pointing out, oh, Yoda's just said do or do not, and all of a sudden Luke became a great fucking Jedi. No, incorrect. Yoda saying do or do not, there is no try, was in the middle of his training. Now, I can't recall exactly how long Yoda trained Luke on Dagobah. I can't remember if it was like 1 week or several weeks. I don't remember exactly what the time frame on it was. But Yoda actually did do training for Luke that got him going. And after the events of Empire Strikes Back, I'm pretty sure, if memory serves, he was able to find holocrons that allowed him to continue his training through the EU books. And that allowed him to continue his training and get to the point of Jedi Knight. But what Yoda's giving the famous, do or do not, there is no try, that was smack dab in the middle of his training. So let's not be disingenuous about that. Now, has Disney just been fucking parroting that in their stuff from day one? Yes. Yes, they have. But in the OG, it didn't work that way. Well, exactly, Rod. Yeah, like, it was nebulous how long he actually trained for. I'm going to go wager it was maybe a couple weeks. I'm going to go with that Luke was on Dagobah for maybe a couple weeks. That's the feeling you get, like maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks. Andrea, I don't think it's a couple of months. A couple weeks, yes. Couple months, I don't believe so. I will say probably a couple weeks. Yeah. No, but he didn't Xanax. That's the problem. That was the whole thing where do or do not. Is he couldn't lift the X-Wing. Yoda lifted the X-Wing. He kind of got it up a little bit and then said, oh, it's too big, and then Yoda went, and yoinked it. Yeah, at the very most, a month, right? Yeah, I'll agree. Like, at the very most, I'm more inclined to think 2 to 3 weeks.
To galactic hero in what, the weekend? Meanwhile, poor
okay,
Obi-Wan,
thanks.
Jedi mentor extraordinaire, spends his entire career trying not to notice his apprentice, Anakin, is a raging powder keg. But no Star Wars analysis would be complete without paying homage to the galaxy's top asthmatic supervillain, Darth Vader. Imagine, you're supposed to be the biggest menace in the galaxy, but you're literally shackled to a cape and a breathing apparatus. In this masterpiece of cinema, Mr. Who's Your Daddy spends half the movie hunting Luke like an overzealous dad at a Little League game. And when he finally gets his moment to bond, he chops off Luke's hand.
Wait. Is he actually trying to throw shade at the OG Star Wars right now? Like, what the? Why? Yes, he fought fucking Luke because... Okay, hey, I gotta hear that again, because I suddenly just came to this realization that he's actually trying to shade the OG Star Wars. I need to hear this line again.
Shackled to a cape and a breathing apparatus. In this masterpiece of cinema, Mr. Who's Your Daddy spends half the movie hunting Luke like an overzealous dad at a Little League game. And when he finally gets his moment to bond, he chops off Luke's hand.
Okay. I can't decide if the narrator here is trying to be humorous and is making a joke, or if he's being serious. Because if he's trying to make a joke, okay. If this is supposed to be like he's making a joke, he's taking the piss, okay, fine. If he's being serious, he cut off Luke's hand because A, Luke didn't need the hand to be a Sith, he knew that cybernetics could be used. The whole point was he was trying to beat Luke down, to weaken him mentally, to try and get him to join the dark side. That was the point of him fighting Luke. He was hunting Luke down because Luke is his son, he wanted him to be with him. And then when they finally fought, he was trying to beat him down and weaken him, so that way when he said, join me, Luke, he was going to try and make Luke weak enough that Luke would go, yes, I'll join you. I can see how much stronger you are. That's what he was trying to do. So if this guy's being serious about what he's saying, then he doesn't have a fucking clue about Star Wars. He doesn't have now, if he's joking, which, given the tone of voice that he's using, he could possibly be just taking the piss. Given his tone of voice, he's kind of doing it in sort of like a parody voice. He could be taking the piss here. Keep that in mind. If he's not, it's fucking game on. But I'm gonna give him a chance.
Because in the Skywalker family, catching up means dueling to the death. And just when you thought he couldn't get any darker, here's Emperor Palpatine, a hooded, wrinkly raisin with delusions of grandeur. It's the Sith, all right. Dark, mysterious, and dressing like they shop exclusively at Hot Topic Galactic Edition.
Okay, when it comes to Palpatine, I can't argue that. The guy's literally wearing a fucking Hot Topic, Spirit Halloween cloak. I can't argue against that, he's light.
Enter the Acolyte, Disney's latest spin-off and the dictionary definition of stretching it. Picture it. Sith apprentices brooding in dark caves, wrestling with angst like they're in a rejected Twilight plot. The show is basically a moody Sith-centric version of the real world, where
Wait, but they weren't in a cave. Like, I fucking hated the Acolyte anyway. But let's call it how it is. The girls were not in a fucking cave. They were on a planet with a coven, isolated from everybody. And obviously, the one sister had some anger issues because she was like torturing small animals with the Force. So let's. But I mean, the Acolyte has more than enough shit for you to lambast it for without embellishing like this about two Sith children. And one, they weren't Sith to begin with, and they weren't just languishing in a cave. They were on a fucking planet that they could go outside in, with a coven of witches.
The Sith-centric version of the real world, where instead of falling in love and causing drama, they're just mad about what? A lack of career growth, being part of a Jedi union without benefits. But
What?
It's not just the Acolyte.
What? What the fuck is he talking about? Nay wanted to leave the planet. She wanted to go elsewhere. But the other one, Osha. No, sorry. Osha wanted to leave the planet. May did not. I think. I don't know. It's like, I forget what the fuck these idiots did. But, yeah, one of them wanted to leave the planet and join the Jedi. The other one wanted to stay with the witches. So, what? Like, it's kind of partially half right, a little bit, but not really?
Union without benefits. But it's not just the Acolyte. Disney has dug so deep into Star Wars that every new spin-off feels like watching an episode of House Hunters.
Wait. Is the AI on this that bad? Hang on a second. I'm trying to figure out, chat, if this is supposed to be Mando's arm. If this is AI generated, this is clearly AI generated. Is this supposed to be Mando's arm right here, along with this? Like he's gripping the bedpost? You think it's a blanket? It could be. Well, no, because the bottom one doesn't have it. I think this is supposed to be another arm. You think it's a blanket? Okay. I think the AI just fucked up and this is like another arm that they did. Because there's no blanket on either of these. There's no blanket on this one. The blanket's like white. But okay. I'll say it's a blanket.
Feels like watching an episode of House Hunters, where the buyers only want to rent. We had The Mandalorian, which was refreshing, until it became yet another nostalgia bomb with Grogu aging slower than George R.R. Martin's published.
Okay. Out of everything that's wrong with The Mandalorian, saying that Grogu ages slowly is fucking stupid. He's the same species as Yoda. When Yoda died, he was over 900 fucking years old. Of course Grogu was going to age slowly, you dumb fuck. And hi, Shimson, my new mod. Hello. Yeah, exactly, Incognito. That's the assumption, is his species ages slowly. And Mando was a good show. He was right about that. The first 2 seasons of Mando were good because it was like Mando was like a refreshing spaghetti western take on the Star Wars franchise, which was new. That was new and it was interesting. And it made for some good stories. Cowboy Grogu was Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian. It certainly sounds like he is Falcon, yeah. But Mando's first 2 seasons was good. Season 3 fucking sucked. Season 3 was, I 100% agree, it was terrible. Because they turned Mando into second and third billing in his own fucking show. And I have heard so many arguments trying to justify what happened with the 3rd season of Mandalorian by saying, oh, it's called The Mandalorian, not Din Djarin. So it could be about any Mandalorian. It's like, motherfucker. Din was the lead character for 2 fucking seasons, plus he was the Mandalorian in his time during Book of Boba Fett. Do not fucking try and say that, oh, fucking Bo-Katan could actually be the Mandalorian. She should take over the series because she's the leader and the title The Mandalorian could mean any Mandalorian. Go fuck yourself. The Mandalorian is Din. Din is the reason why people watch the fucking show in the first place. He's the only reason people watched it, because everybody loved his character. Then they brought in Bo for a cameo. People loved her in cameo. They loved her in the cameo position. where she came in for like one episode, and I was like, oh cool, there's Bo-Katan from Rebels. Cool, they're integrating this back in. That was cool. And then season 3, it suddenly became the goddamn Bo-Katan show. And Din was second or third billing in his own fucking show. So, yeah. Go fuck yourself with that argument about, oh, the Mandalorian could be anyone. No. People tuned in for Din when they didn't get Din anymore for season 3. Guess what happened? The ratings tanked. When they replaced Din with Bo as the primary character in The Mandalorian, because they just had to shove in that strong, independent woman character and have to shove the man to the background saying, you cannot possibly be good enough. What happened? The ratings plummeted. The show died. And now, Din's only coming back in movie format. Maybe. There's a question whether or not that's even going to happen right now, but look at what happens when they did this. No, Brandon, no. I'm nipping that in the bud right the fuck now. People did not stop watching because they hate women. Incorrect on every conceivable level. Because people loved fucking Gina Carano in The Mandalorian. They loved her character. That's one reason why they left, is because Disney fired her. Oh, Brandon, were you basically emulating the idiots on Twitter? Is that what you're doing? And I just completely missed the joke that you're making. If that's the case, I'm sorry. If you were like joking, making a joke and emulating the morons on Twitter that have that argument, my apologies. I didn't realize you were making a joke. Yeah, exactly, Raven. Women characters are indeed awesome if they're written well. Baby, I don't know. I was, you know what it was? I was rolling. I saw that. I saw Brandon post that, and my brain immediately went, that's serious. I have to respond. And I did not realize it was probably a joke. So, sorry.
Schedule. What was once a simple, gritty bounty hunting story is now the galaxy's most expensive babysitting gig.
But that's not a problem. Din taking Grogu on his bounty hunts because he said he wanted to make Grogu part of.
Are you sure about that?
That was terrifying, house guest. Please don't do that again. I don't want my face replaced by John Cena's. Like that. That was terrifying. I must say. Yeah, exactly, Atanashi. Having Grogu coming along actually gave them... oh, excuse me. Actually gave them an interesting part of the story. It did add an interesting dynamic. And the fact that, like, Grogu was supposed to be a Jedi, and Grogu rejected the Jedi to be a Mandalorian. Think about that. That was a storyline. Like, they did something similar with Sabine in Rebels, and I never saw Rebels, so I can't commentate on how that story went. It's a similar story, but the way it's done could have been better because Grogu was essentially a baby, and it was very good. Okay, so they basically were taking that tact, and it could have gone very well. Now, in the 3rd season, when he was like training Grogu how to use Mandalorian gear, that kind of sucked. That was kind of foolish, honestly. But that was season 3. Season 3, they fucked up a lot. They royally fucked up like all of season 3. But they could have done something incredible with it. And, excuse me. They could have done something really incredible with Mandalorian, and then they decided to just throw it all away with season 3.
Yoda was wise. Try babysitting this guy through the next 500 years of spin-offs, merch, and questionable plot lines. At this rate, Grogu will have his own trilogy before he's done potty training. Then, we got the book of Boba Fett.
Oh,
a series
God.
about a guy who's barely talked in his entire life, now given a full show to talk us into a coma. They're beating this
Well, and therein lies the problem. They removed all of Boba Fett's mystery. That's how this felt. Yes, Boba Fett, the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy, got royally fucking cucked in his own fucking show. This show was not about Boba Fett. This show was about Ming-Na's character, which I can't even remember what her fucking name is. The Grogu rejected the Jedi because after The Last Jedi came out and saw that Luke's Jedi students were all killing people, were outraged that Grogu would have been in that group if he was left with Luke. Andrew, whatever the reason. Whatever the reason, for season 2 it worked. It did. But yeah, Boba Fett, here's why Book of Boba Fett failed so spectacularly. The show is not about Boba Fett. The show is about Ming-Na's character. Ming-Na's character. That's what the show was about. She was the one, the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy. And Ming-Na's character basically led him around by the nose the whole fucking time. The whole time. Fennec Shan, thank you, Incognito. I could not remember her name. She led him around by the nose the whole fucking time. She was the one in charge, not Boba Fett. Boba Fett literally got turned into a figurehead in his own show. And herein lies how Disney failed so spectacularly with Boba Fett. Because what made Boba Fett such a beloved character, why he was so popular, is his mystery. You didn't know much about him, other than that he's the baddest motherfucker in the galaxy. And if he's hunting you down, there's nowhere you can run, you're fucked. They took all that and chucked it in the garbage from episode 1. They still actually kind of held on to it in The Mandalorian. When Boba Fett showed up in Mandalorian, it still kind of worked.
I didn't mind the Boba Fett backstory if they did something with it, especially if they added more Clone Wars story to it.
Maybe. But the problem is he talked too much and they made him stupid. 100%. They made him just stupid. And everybody hated it. Book of Boba Fett is universally considered one of the worst Disney Star Wars projects. One of the worst. Yeah, Atsunashi, Boba Fett fucking trained Jaina Solo in the EU. He flat out fucking trained her, I think in Mandalorian Warfare, when she was the Sword of the Jedi. So, yeah, this Boba Fett was a character with a very rich history, but still maintained that mysteriousness and was a badass through and through. Boba Fett in this show was a pussy. I would not, if my introduction to Boba Fett was this show, and an OG Star Wars fan told me this is the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy, with this show as my introduction to him, I would have looked at them and said, "Are you fucking high right now? This asshole is the greatest bounty hunter in the galaxy?" Like, he got eaten by a Sarlacc because he got, because it was a chaotic situation and shit happened. And in a chaotic firefight like that, Han Solo got lucky. It can happen. Doesn't diminish the fact that Boba Fett's a badass. Anybody can get lucky. It does happen. But in this one, it's like, fuck. Yeah, exactly, Falcon. That's what I'm saying. Boba Fett when Boba appeared in Mando, he was out of his armor, but he was still Boba Fett. He was still a badass. He was kicking ass in Mandalorian. He did not kick ass in his own show. And that's what pissed people off. They fucked him over in his own show because it was not even his show. It was Fennec's show. From the very beginning, it was her show. Once again, taking a beloved male Star Wars character, this one an OG, and giving the series over to a strong, independent woman character.
Franchise like a dead bantha, repackaging the same tired tropes and expecting us to fork over cash. You're watching not because you want to.
Exactly, Alex.
But because it feels like your childhood owes it to them. And don't even get me started on the Sith fashion parade. Vader?
What?
Brooding and melodramatic, probably trying to hide the fact that his helmet fogs up every 5 minutes.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you about the shit with Vader. The one thing Disney got right with Star Wars is how they showed Vader in Rogue One. Vader in Rogue One, that final 5 minutes, was fucking epic. It was 5 minutes of Vader being Vader and showing why people were so terrified of him. That hallway scene at the end of Rogue One was out fucking standing. Yes. It was, my opinion, it was the best 5 minutes of the entire movie. Now, I didn't see the Obi-Wan series. I know that they had Vader in the Obi-Wan series. I don't know what they did with him. I don't fucking care. The whole Obi-Wan season's fucking stupid anyway. Should never be. I didn't either, Larook. And from what I gather, they should never have made it. It should never have been made in the first place. Yeah, Brandon, that's what I heard. I heard that the lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Vader was horrible. Holy crap, I heard that. I heard that the original Obi-Wan script was basically scrapped. And they redid it from the ground up, essentially. The Obi-Wan series was supposed to have been wildly different originally. But because it didn't have the DEI check marks, they scrapped it and started over. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, they 100% did, Falcon. They did. Just like every other OG male character in Star Wars. They turned him into an idiot and a fucking cuck.
Palpatine, cackling away in a black hoodie, looking like he just crawled out of a dryer. And Disney will have you believe these are the scariest villains ever. But let's be real. They look like they're rehearsing for a community theatre production of Macbeth. And, of course, there's nostalgia, which I've been talking about a lot lately and I'll be talking about till infinity and fucking beyond.
Oh, I know, Lurik. It is.
Is clearly Disney's favourite drug.
Yeah. Lurik, you're right. The show was 100% about fucking Reva, the Reeing Inquisitor. Absolutely. It was 100% about her because there was this whole it was again another we have to take a bad guy and make them a good guy. Cause that was the whole purpose of it. It was Reva's redemption arc. That was the entire purpose of her of the show.
Every new series, every spin-off, every single filler episode is built on the same recycled storylines. And
Yeah?
Disney's banking
Not
on
wrong.
it. Remember that epic lightsaber duel? Now, it's
Yeah.
an 8-part mini-series with a convoluted subplot about Jedi philosophy. And let's not forget the bounty hunters, who somehow went from villains to anti-heroes, because who doesn't love a
Well, okay. Bounty hunters were never villains. Oh. Wait, what? Oh! Day of Doom! Congratulations! That is wonderful! You actually, man, excuse me, you actually had a transplant. That's fucking wonderful. I am so glad to hear that. And Holocron, I don't think they're gonna touch Revan or Darth Bane. I don't. They're Disney Star Wars is kind of on its way out. I don't think they're gonna fuck with that. Because if they do, they'll actually kill the entire franchise. Fuck, what was my train of thought? Shit. I lost my train of thought. Damn it. I was getting, it was something along the lines of where episode 6 was, episode 7 was literally like a rehash of A New Hope. Flat out. When he's talking about like recycled plot lines, that was A Force Awakens. Force Awakens was A New Hope. Let's not fuck around. It was.
about Jedi philosophy. And let's not forget the bounty hunters, who
The bounty hunters. Okay, that's what I was starting to roll on. The bounty hunters were always an anti-hero. Let's not fuck around with this. The bounty hunters were always anti-heroes. The bounty hunters were never evil, per se. They just worked for the highest bidder. And in the case of like The Empire Strikes Back, the Empire was the highest bidder. They're the ones that contracted them for the job. It just so happened to be they were hunting down the heroes. So the bounty hunters have always been an anti-hero. So let's not get it twisted. And that's why people like Boba, because he was bounty hunter, he worked for the highest bidder, he was mysterious, and he was a badass. Flat out. Yeah, Cad Bane was evil, I think. I don't even know about Aurra Sing. And yeah, it's like Boba Fett, I think, actually had scruples. Fucking Mando! Leave us not forget, chat. Din Djarin was a fucking bounty hunter. And he was the hero of the Mandalorian show. So yeah, bounty hunters are anti-heroes and not evil. Because that is the nature of a bounty hunter. They go where the money is. Now, whether or not they have scruples is a different story, but them being a bounty hunter, broad stroked, it inherently does not make them evil.
somehow went from villains to anti-heroes, because who doesn't love a good morally grey blaster wielder? Forget that you've seen it all before. They're hoping the force of nostalgia is strong enough to override your common sense.
Except that's just it. With Star Wars, we hadn't seen something like Manda before, with the spaghetti western. We hadn't seen that from Star Wars before. That's why people fucking loved it. Well, Han Solo was not a bounty hunter. Han Solo was a smuggler. There is a difference. Kun was a roguish smuggler. He was not a bounty hunter. Yes, he's a rogue, but there's a difference between smuggler and bounty hunter. Smugglers move cargo, bounty hunters kill people. That's a difference. But still, they're both anti-heroes. They are. And as far as like, oh, we've seen this all before. Well, no, that's the ever-loving point. With the Mandalorian series, we didn't get that before. Boba Fett disintegrate what? Boba Fett did not disintegrate Luke's aunt and uncle. Stormtroopers killed his aunt and uncle, Bobcat. Boba Fett was not involved in that. That was just stormtroopers. I think when he made that disintegration comment, oh, it was was it? Okay, Revan and Bobcat, when did this comic book come out? When was this particular comic book released that showcased Boba disintegrated Luke's family? When did this come out? Because that is crucial. Was it before Disney? Okay. It's before Disney. Well, again, if Boba disintegrated Luke's aunt and uncle, yes, chat. Fear my next will. I have him under control now. And, well, okay, but yes, Revan, Vader mentioned, he said, no disintegrations. But in Empire Strikes Back, it was not implied that Boba Fett was responsible for disintegrating his aunt and uncle. Boba's plan about killing Mace Windu. Boba was still a child, and Mace Windu was dead by then. So, I don't know what that is, because Mace Windu was dead by the time Boba joined the ranks of the bounty hunters. And hi, Akitora. It was confirmed that Boba did not kill them. Okay. Oh. What? He did. Okay. Oh, it was in the Clone Wars. Okay, I never saw the Clone Wars. Other than, I think I saw like the movie. I never actually watched the series. Okay. There's plenty of EU that I have not seen. So he told the story to Luke to lure Luke to capture him for Vader. It didn't work, so he went for Han Solo. Okay, so we're getting contradictions. Okay. Yeah, I mean, regardless, he's blatantly wrong, even with the story stuff.
Hero is only truly a hero from a certain point of view.
Was that supposed to be Obi-Wan? God, that's a bad AI. Anyway, we'll continue.
At some point, we have to ask, who's actually watching the Acolyte? Who's tuning in to learn about a bunch of people who couldn't make the cut at Jedi school? And while...
No one! No one's watching. Hence why the series was absolutely shit on, did absolutely horrible in the ratings to the point that Disney refused to actually release viewing numbers for it, and why Season 2 got canceled. And Evan! Hi! Hello! Welcome Raiders, welcome Raiders, welcome Raiders! How's it going, Raiders? How are you? How is your stream?
I shot him where he did not want to be shot at.
How is your stream, Raiders? Oh, thank you, Madam Deanon.
That was crazy.
I appreciate it.
Crazy. Oh.
I hope you guys had fun. Akitor? No, I have not. I've heard about it, but I haven't read it. So, Raiders, I don't know if anyone in 11's stream has never been here before, because 11, you've been here a few times. If anyone in 11's stream has never been in my stream before, first of all, hi, welcome. I'm Ember. I talk and react to stuff, and that's my lore. I don't do a whole lot of the lore shit, and you know. Chat, get our main VA. Oh, a PS5 after your funding. Nice. Nice. That's wonderful to hear. Okay. So, yes, throne definitely. Okay. 11. My chat has been bugging the shit out of me to get a throne. And I've resisted. I have resisted getting a throne so far. And Arlie, hi, I'm doing good. I know. Like, my chat has bothered me like crazy to get one. Okay, I will tell you why I've hesitated. Because for me, it's getting a throne. For me personally, it feels like I'm putting pressure, any pressure on my chat to get me stuff, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to put that kind of pressure onto my chat. You know, my chat has already been like really generous with like biddies and subs and donos, and I'm very hesitant towards putting any more pressure on my chat to do anything monetarily. That's why I've resisted. They do keep bugging the hell out of me for it, so maybe I'll set it up. I don't know. Raget, no, you will get the floor and you will like it. I already gave you Taco Tuesdays. What more do you want? They will not send me an IBC of lube. Shadow Sparta, it's like an unspoken pressure. That's what it is. It's like an unspoken pressure. I know, Falcon. I know. And I've not said I will never do it. I've not. It's just, it's taking me time to work my way up to it. I have to get myself to the point where I'm okay with it. And I'm working on it. I just need time to be okay with it. So please be patient.
While we're at it, who greenlit a series about younglings' traumatic Jedi training arcs? We're not learning anything new here, just rehashing the age-old idea that Jedi have no concept of therapy or emotional boundaries. In the end...
Well, no, Jedi are not supposed to have emotions. That's the whole point. Jedi were not supposed to be emotional people. They were supposed to forego emotions. Arlie? Holidays are not a big thing for me. And yeah, Rab Acid, like, that isn't, like, I personally don't like the whole do not have emotions, like, or don't have attachments. Like, I agree, Rab Acid. That's kind of why I have a problem with it. And yes, I know Luke changed that rule. It's like opposite sides of the spectrum. Jedi are to be without motions, to be at peace. Sith are embrace your anger and your hatred and use it to make yourself stronger. Again, opposite sides of the spectrum with a whole lot of middle ground in there, which is where the gray Jedi come into play. The gray Jedi are the ones where keep balance, don't be afraid of your emotions, but don't let your emotions control you. Yes, Ryget, me too.
Dog. This place is magnificent.
Yeah, I'm 100% on board with the Gray Jedi. In fact, I know people said that Qui-Gon Jinn was actually a Gray Jedi. Where he did not, put the kibosh on like emotions. So, possibly, Alex. It's entirely possible. I'd say maybe. Yeah, so Luke kind of embraced the gray more than he did the true Jedi Order. He kind of, when he created his order, it was far more gray than it was true Jedi, which I liked. And Arlie, thank you for the follow. Oh yeah, Falcon, she was always considered gray. There was no kinda. She quit the Jedi Order specifically because of what they did, and she 100% went gray Jedi. Absolutely.
Star Wars has become Disney's endless content machine, with each new installment just another installment in a story that should have wrapped up decades ago.
He's not wrong
We're
about
not
that.
left with the epic saga that once enthralled us. Now, we've got a soulless, endless franchise that's more zombie than space opera. It's time, Star Wars.
Okay. This image is kind of funny on a couple different levels. Anyone want to take a guess why? Anyone want? Yeah, Calcatorn was fairly gray also. Anyone want to take a guess why I'm saying this is kind of funny on multiple levels? Who saw Deadpool and Wolverine? Where Deadpool says to Wolverine, "They're gonna make you do this till you're 90." That's what makes me chuckle. Yeah, the running joke in it when Wolverine first comes into the picture is Deadpool says that they're gonna make Hugh Jackman play the role till he's 90. He says that like several times in the movie. That's what made me chuckle, because it said, "Congrats, you made it to 90."
Time to retire with dignity, or whatever dignity remains after Disney got hold of you. Because if we don't pull the plug now, I'm pretty sure the next series will be Darth Vader. The college years, complete with red lightsaber frat parties, or better yet, we'll be watching a Darth Vader cooking show by 2030.
Oh God.
Ever wondered what it's like to make blue milk cheese? Neither did we, but that's apparently what's next on the menu. So, moral of the story,
Oh,
stop
they wouldn't,
forcing
Robo.
the Force on us. We've had enough. Let our beloved Star Wars rest in peace before we find out what Ewoks do on their days off.
Alright, well, we said it at the very beginning.
As much as I love the original trilogy, I always wondered how Luke won against the main character, the literal chosen, one of the whole series, who was way more experienced. Luke at most, trained 5 years sporadically at best.
Revan? Excuse me. For two reasons. One, Luke, during their final confrontation, Luke let the dark side start to take hold of him. If we're talking about, like, in continuity reasons, during their final fight, Luke actually started to go dark. When Vader threatened Leia that he would go after Leia, Luke got pissed and gave into that anger like the Emperor had been wanting to. And so Luke got pissed and he went berserker mode. And yeah, there was the Vader suit, like the supposedly limited power, but I think Vader, I suspect, I don't know if this was ever canonized in any way, but number one, Luke was pissed. So he gave her the dark side and he just started going ham. He started going berserker mode. Number two, I suspect that Vader, in the end, let Luke beat him to try and save Luke from becoming like him. Granted, this is just a gut feeling. It is a gut feeling. But that Vader allowed himself to lose to Luke, even as badly as he did, because he did not want Luke to become like him. He was trying to prevent that from happening so Luke could actually stop the Emperor. Exactly, Blagat. That's, like, in the end. Maybe not throughout all of it, but I think, like, towards the end there. He wanted to fall, he wanted the Emperor to fall. Exactly. Anakin resurfaced to try and in a roundabout way try to get, allowed Luke to win so he would not become like him. Yep. So that is why I suspect Luke was able to beat Vader in the end. Being the chosen one and all that. That's my feel. I don't recall. I've read many of the EU books. I don't remember reading that particular plot line. So I don't quite recall that, but that's the feeling I get.